morning. Welcome to Crafters End of today's schedule. So we're going to be having a craft house now. So welcome. It's 7 p.m. here in the UK, and I believe it's 2 p.m. over in the East Coast and 11 a.m. Pacific time. So welcome. You are more than welcome here this afternoon, and it's lovely to see you. So we've now got a craft house, a special all about embossing folders and stencils, sort of the tools that people forget about. And I bet if you've been crafting any time, you have got both embossing folders and stencils in your crafty stash, and I bet you don't use them half as much as you should. Well, my friend Lily is here to show you how to use them, how to get the best out of them, and maybe a few techniques that you perhaps haven't tried before. So good evening, Lily.
Good evening. It's lovely to be back with you, Corrine. I say that like we haven't been sat nattering for the past 2 hours, but you know, yeah. Hello again.
We've been sat in the green room with the heating turned right up.
Oh, it's been like a sauna. It's been fabulous. But yeah, it's so excited for this show because I must say, embossing folders and stencils are fabulous, but I would describe them very much as the unsung heroes in our crafty stash. I know I don't use them half as much as I should. So this show, we're going to be getting all our embossing folders and stencils out, perhaps bringing you some new designs that you've never seen before, and showing you lots and lots of different techniques that you can be very easily creating using all your embossing folders and stencils. So inking, even using some of your Midas metallic inks, of course we have on today's show, and these are our fabulous 3D frame embossing folders as well. But don't just think about cards, don't neglect your gift tags, or this could even be a bookmark. Using your letterpress techniques, we're going to be having a little look at that sort of technique later, even snipping into your 3D frame embossing folders. So not just about frames at all with these ones. But how about you want to go for some of our duo embossing folders? I know you guys were loving those on Play Your Crafts right this morning. So you get that top area, which is an embossing folder, but you also got that secondary design, which is a cut and emboss folder. You can see here we've used them together and it looks incredible. We've used them on another card here using that letterpress technique and then inking over the top of that bottom section. So bringing in all your different techniques on different areas, they look incredible. But we're not just doing our embossing folders within this fabulous craft house today. We're thinking about our stencils as well. And there's actually quite a lot of similar techniques we can be using with our embossing folders and our stencils. Using some of our pigment ink background stencils, we've actually picked out some of the different areas within that design to create such a pretty card there. But how about using your black card? How incredibly striking does that look? So we've actually created an ombre effect onto there and heat emboss using some of our clear embossing powders to give it that lovely little bit of shine and gloss onto there. But finally, how about going really, really bright and zingy and uplifting? How fabulous is that? So using some of our background stencils and then heat embossing over the top to give us that shine and that gloss onto there. How striking is that? But so much fun to create. We're just going to sit back, we're going to have lots and lots of crafty fun within this craft house, and hopefully you're going to pick up a bargain and learn something new along the way too.
Absolutely. So the 3D frames, you can see them here. We were saying, good job I'm tall, because these are nearly as tall as me. So you're going to get all 12. Now you're going to get 3.25 by 8.25 inch ones. I think that's these ones here. You're going to get 5 by 5s, which I think by 5 by 5s. Yeah, which is there. You're going to get your 4 by 6s and your 5 by 7s. So you're going to get some really lovely shapes. You're going to get 3 of each of the sizes, and normally you know, these would come in at about £72, but for today you're going to get them for £53.49, or in the US $70.95. But look at that platinum price, £42.79 or $56.76, which is absolute bargain. So should we have a look at what you've got? So we've got, I'm going to go to, I think I do one of each and then one of each and one of each again. So first of all, you've got a 5 by 7, so absolutely beautiful. So this is your exquisite blooms. Now these are 3D embossing folders. So Lily will show you more when we come to do their first demo, but what you're going to see is your emboss is in different heights. So if I look at this, this is quite a shallow boss here on that leaf. Then you've got sort of a mid-height emboss, but then when I look here, I've got a really deep emboss, which stands out even more. So a 3D embossing folder embosses in multi-layers, multi-heights. It's not a uniform emboss, and that's what going to give you the depth and dimension and a really beautiful look. Now we colour, these are all coloured so that you can see them on the TV, but you don't have to. Maybe you're just going to go in with the inks, maybe you're going to leave them plain, or maybe you're going to get your sanding block on them and sand them back, you know, get that white core. It's up to you, but we've coloured them just so that you can see the emboss and make it pop. So exquisite blooms. Then from your 4x6, we've got your entangled roses. Aren't those beautiful? And we're always leaving you a space to put in a sentiment, to put a project, maybe a ribbon or a border. There's always some little space on there. I do like this one. This is your Luscious Lilies. So this will be your 5.5 by 5.5. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, straight away you can see the different heights of the emboss so that it all comes out. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. When you tilt it forward, you can really see the difference. And then one of our 3.25 by 8.25 inch embossing folders. Sort of, we call it a DL here in England. Well, DL's normally double the length, so it's not quite.
Slimline.
Just under slimline. So slimline is what they call it here.
Yeah, so slimline is 8.5 by 3.5, so they're just under, so they'll fit on your slimline cards perfectly.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Absolutely perfect. But is this going to be portrait? Is it going to be landscape? I think you could see this one working either way on there. Then we're going, so that was your elegant flourish. Back to our 5x7s, we've got our swirling lace, and I love this because you've got the paisley, so I'm thinking maybe your blacks, your navy blues with your gilding waxes, bringing out a bit more for your masculine. I saw one of the examples that Lily showed us here was a classic lace, and I think it was that way round with the sentiment in the middle, so you can see how that one will work as well. Then back to another 5.5 by 5.5. So again, this is going to fit perfectly on your 6-inch or 7-inch square cards. This is your lovely lace. We had classic lace, now we've got lovely lace. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? And this is the one you used this morning, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
On the black card. And we couldn't see it on the black card. And we said she had a magic dauber that just that lifted out the emboss as it ran over. So, you know, it really comes to life when you add in your inks.
Absolutely, yeah. Using your Midas metallic inks look absolutely fabulous. But of course, we've cut down on the diagonal. So if you want to see how we created this card, make sure you watch back and play your crafts right.
Exactly.
We popped that together this morning.
So another one of our slimline is our embellished lace. I love this one. So look at this, and you've got all the detail. I love anything with sort of your hexagon honeycomb effect on. That's definitely a favourite of mine.
Yeah, if you've got any of your Nature's Garden Beautiful collection, that would look fabulous with that as well.
It would, wouldn't it? Intricate filigree is the next one. So we're back to our 5x7s. So absolutely beautiful. Can you see how the what we've coloured in yellow pops out compared to the height of the foliage behind? Your last 6x4 is your elegant swirls. Really pretty they are. And again, would you be going landscape? Because I think that would work equally as well. This one I think is so pretty on your 5.5 by 5.5 inch is your fancy floral wreath. I don't know whether it's the colours that are appealing to me or I just love the wreath. It's either way. And then finally, we've got our elegant frame trio. So this is lovely. And just think of all the things you're going to be able to put. Maybe you're going to stamp an image in one, sentiment in another, maybe another stamped image. It's up to you. Or maybe you're just going to put a flower in each, the centre of each of those. Absolutely gorgeous. So all of those, you don't have to pick. You're going to get them all. $53.49 or $70.95. Now, even if you get these as a platinum price of £42.79 or $56.76, you're still going to get your bonus 100 points. Now, this is a deal that we've got running from at the current time through to midnight tomorrow night. So if you spend over £25, $25, anytime up to midnight tomorrow night, we're going to give you an extra 100 bonus points. That's going to push you closer to being a permanent platinum member all the time. So this is absolutely gorgeous. So we have so many people watching us already. So let's have a quick look who's there. We've got Regina Boyd in Buffalo, New York. Hello, Linda Armstead. Hello all. Fred 171, I like this. Got here early to get a good seat. You've got the best seat in the house there, Fred 171. CJ Papercraft, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Yep, depends where you are. Sherry, good afternoon from another rainy day in Illinois, US. Getting my sunshine and brightness from my crafty chatters this afternoon. That is lovely. Felicia is in Toledo, Ohio. Corrine is, good morning everyone, happy Saturday to you. So you must be maybe Pacific Coast if you're saying good morning. Kimberly Millwood, good afternoon fellow crafters from sunny North Carolina. Gilmore says, hello Corrine, Lily, Team Social and crafters and crafty peeps. Terry H says, I got one frame completed from the craft along, it was really fun. Post a picture in the comments, we'd love to see your frame that you got completed. Maybe you only want to do one frame, maybe you want to do 2 or 3, it's entirely up to you. Lily gave you the inspiration and then it's up to you where you're going to take it. Oh, Rhonda says, I could really use some inspiration when it comes to stencils and embossing folders. I feel really inadequate around them. We don't want that. We don't want anyone to feel inadequate, and you won't, because they are really easy to use. You've just got to maybe think a little bit outside the box.
Absolutely, and I think it's one of those things that we don't focus on enough, perhaps. I must say, I'm terrible for it. I forget I've got all these embossing folders and stencils, so don't worry about it. In today's craft house, it's just about teaching you perhaps something new, or maybe just sort of reminding you of techniques that you've already done. So this is definitely the craft house for you. So sit back, enjoy, don't feel inadequate. There's no need to feel like that. Crafting is all about enjoyment, and hopefully you'll learn something new today that you can have a little go at later. So we're going to get straight into demo because I just really want to share with you lots and lots of different techniques and hopefully give you something that maybe you've not seen for a little while. So we're going to be working with our fabulous 3D frame embossing folders, and I'm going to start with the Elegant Flourish. That's quite hard to say at this time of night, so I'll be careful with saying that one. So we're starting with this one, and this is 8 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So like we were saying earlier with Corrine, a perfect size for your slimline cards, and these are absolutely all the rage at the minute. You're seeing slimline designs absolutely everywhere, be it with stamps, embossing folders, dies. You cannot get away from them. They're one of those that became a trend, but it's a trend that doesn't seem to be going away. They're becoming a classic staple in our crafty stash. So if you want to emulate that really, really on-trend look, these are going to be fabulous. So in order
I'm doing
to
some slimline nesting dies in a couple of weeks.
Oh my goodness, Corrine, I've seen them. They are
So it's like you say, it's definitely a size that's coming in and a lot more, isn't it?
Yeah, so these are going to be absolutely fabulous. So I'm taking a piece of my white multi-purpose card. Now we've got this on today's show.
I've got that here next to me, yes.
Yep.
So just quickly interrupt Lily. See this white multi-purpose card, you're going to get all 3 packs, I think, in this. So 60 sheets in each pack, so you're going to get 180 sheets, and it's 300 GSM. So look at that, $19.98 or $29.98. So in platinum price, that's £15.98 or $23.98, which is perfect because you're going to get 180 sheets. Now you can stamp onto this, you can use your pencils on this, your blending pencils. You can use it as your card bases, your mats and layers. It's entirely pure. It's what it says, it's multi-purpose card. So you're going to get so much use out of that. Look at that, it's quite a brick of it when you look at that, the 180 sheets. So I think this will last a little while.
Absolutely, but it's fabulous. So what I've used this for is I've used it to create my own card base. I don't tend to buy ready-made cards, I tend to make my own. So all I've done is I've taken an A4 sheet of that, I've cut it down to 8 1/2 inch height by 7 inch that way, and I've literally just scored it at 3 1/2, so I've scored it in half, and that creates me my slimline card base. So that's my card base done using that fabulous white multi-purpose card, and with it being 300 GSM, it's the perfect weight for a card base. It's going to stand nice and tall and strong, and it's not going to have sort of Bambi legs and fall over, as is the case if you use a lesser quality thinner card. Now what I've done is I've taken a piece of, now this is some of our Nina card, because I'm actually going to be using my alcohol pens on this piece. I'm using my Nina cardstock just because it's super smooth and it'll take your alcohol pens the best. So your stamping card is perfect for stamping, perfect for your coloured pencils, for your box making, for your card blanks as well, matting and layering. But if you're using your alcohol pens, definitely go for your Nina cardstock. So that's what we've got here. I'm taking my embossing folder, and because it's double-sided, it's exactly the same cardstock on both sides. I don't need to worry what side of the embossing folder I'm putting this into. It really doesn't matter because it's going to give us the same effect on both sides. Now, like we said earlier, these are 3D embossing folders. So to build up our sandwich for our Gemini, we're starting with a clear cutting plate, and then we're going to go with our magnetic shim. Just wondering how I moved that out of position. Might have just knocked my cardstock a little bit. No, it's fine. So then we're going to pop that onto there, and then we're going to finish off with our plastic shim. And we're going to run that through our die cutting machine, our Gemini. Now, because these are our 3D embossing folders, we've got different levels of depth to the emboss. And it just means that the actual embossing folder plastic itself is that little bit thicker. So it's a slightly different sandwich to what you'd use with a regular embossing folder. Just because, I mean, if you were to compare this in sight to a normal embossing folder, you can actually see the difference in terms of the plastic itself. So if we remove our cardstock, we can see on one side we have got our emboss onto that, and on the other side we've got our deboss. Now, I did say earlier that I've used a bit of Nina cardstock onto here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some of my Illustrator pens. Now we've got a 48 pen collection on today's show, and all the colours I'm going to be using for this are actually within that collection. And something that I tend to forget about that we can actually do with our embossing folders is that we can actually colour using our alcohol pens. So quite often we think about inking our embossed designs. Quite often we might add a bit of gilding wax, which is absolutely fabulous, and it's going to give us brilliant effects, but I sometimes forget, and I don't know if you guys at home are the same, that we can actually colour in our embossed designs almost like they're a stamp. Now, I don't know, Corrine, you might remember this technique. It was quite big a few years ago. It's not as popular now, faint lines colouring. So when you take a stamped image, perhaps use second generation or just a pale grey ink, and then colour it in using alcohol pens, and it looks like you've not got a line to your stamped image. Yeah, this is almost like that sort of idea, using your embossing folders with your coloured pens. And it could be any sort of coloured pen. You could be using your aqua pens if you're using your watercolour cardstock. You could be using your classiques, your tri-blends. It's completely up to you. I'm using our Illustrators here, but we're just colouring it in exactly the same way we'd colour in any stamped image. So I'm focusing on one petal at a time, using TB1, TB3 and TB5. So again, we're using that 3-pen blend. And if you are thinking a little bit more about wanting to learn more about colouring, if you have a little look at today's craft along, we talked you through a lot of the different pen types. We did a lot of colouring on that show, so if that's something you want to have a little explore of a bit more, then that'd be a perfect show to look at. But we're literally just colouring this in, and it's really easy in a way because you're following that embossed line. It's almost like a barrier to keep your ink where you want it to be.
It's a bit like if you heat embossed, isn't it?
Exactly like that. Because to go outside of the lines, you've got to sort of change depth, which is more difficult to do than if you were just colouring in a normal stamped image. So in a way, you could argue that it is a little bit easier if you like. And
you've also got the embossing lines to help you
Absolutely.
where to go lighter, darker and everything. So everything's done for you, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's very much like when we've got stamped designs, we've got the shading lines added into there. With our embossing folders, we've actually got those embossing lines which are already within that design. So it's going to give us a clue as to where to add our light and shade. And I'm literally just going and flicking, and this is the beautiful thing about using your Illustrators. You can get those flicking techniques really, really easily with that beautiful quality brush nib.
It's reminding me Coalport China Blue. Getting my words out.
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Really, really pretty.
It's really very nice, expensive looking about it, isn't there?
Yeah. Yes, very, very classy, isn't it? That blue.
And I think there's something about 3D embossing folders that looks really, really expensive. So I think they've got almost like a sculpted, sort of reminds me a little bit of like carved marble. A slab of marble, it's what so it sort of reminds me of. So I do think it always gives you a really, really beautiful, expensive, luxurious finish. I mean, embossing folders themselves are great. We've got some fab sort of regular embossing folders within our range, but 3D embossing folders are just absolutely incredible for designs like this. You can see straight away
there, can't you, that your flower is at a higher height than that petal you've got over to the left-hand side. That clearly is lower in emboss, isn't it? And that
absolutely.
Just adds in that interest before you've even started.
Absolutely, yeah. They're absolutely amazing. I remember when they first brought them out, it was like, oh my goodness, they sort of blow your mind. They are absolutely incredible to have all those different levels of depth within just the one folder. You've not got to use several folders or anything. There's no messing about like that. It is just the one embossing folder. All we're doing is a slightly different sandwich through your die cutting machine just to compensate for that slightly thicker bit of plastic in our embossing folder.
You need your rotating design board that
I
we had in
do,
the last show, don't you? I mean, it'll be on the website if you want to have a look at that.
Yeah.
But you notice how Lily keeps rotating the project that she's doing? Because it's always easier. You have your way. She's flicking away from herself.
Yeah.
Now, if she'd have kept that flower right way up, you'd have had to flick towards yourself, and it's not a natural flick, is it?
Absolutely.
So to be able to carry on flicking away, she's rotating it. Now, it's no hassle at all to turn the card, but if you've got a rotating board, then you can just spin it as much as you need to get it in the right position to help you, you know, to do. So yeah, go and have a look on our website because it's definitely there, because we had it in our last show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
It will be on if you shop the show for Craft Along, at 3 o'clock you'll find that there, and I have to say it's something that's on my wish list, my ever-growing wish list, because
along with your
along with my
Pro.
Gemini Pro, yeah.
I think you might be pushing your luck a bit much if you drop that link to your mum as well.
Yeah, I'll have this and I'll have that and I'll have the other, and it'll be, I don't think so. But yeah, definitely always rotate your cardstock because it just makes it so much easier. Flicking towards you is a very, very unnatural movement, and you will find that quite difficult, whereas flicking away from you is so easy, especially when you've got that lovely quality brush nib to these pens. It really is effortless. All I'm doing is laying down that base layer, that base coat of our palest colour of pen, and then I'm going in with my mid-tone, just flicking that out, and then I'm going in finally with my darkest tone just into the very centre where there's the most lines. I was nearly said from that stamped image, from that embossed image. I'm so used to colouring in stamps. It was like earlier with the card front colouring pads, I kept wanting to call those stamped images, and obviously there's no stamps involved in that. But we are treating this very much like a stamped image anyway.
We've got loads of people watching us. Timothy is saying, I've got loads of embossing folders, not really used them, but will as of now from the demos today. Thank you. That's brilliant. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
If we can inspire you to get something out that you bought, that you spent your hard-earned money on, and, you know, has just been gathering dust or at the back of a cupboard, then we've achieved something, haven't we? We really have. So I hope that really does inspire you, Timothy. Bren W747 says, I also have a ton of unused embossing folders, so these ideas are great inspiration. And that's what we want to do. It's all about the inspiration, Bren. And Val Lloyd says, hi, Corrine and Lily.
Hello.
Hi, Val. First chance to watch today. Been helping at a charity table in my local country park. Ready to sit back and see your demos. Bliss. I hope it's a little bit warmer. It's been sunny here, so that would be nice to be out in the country park, but maybe a tad cold. So either, well, not in our green room, as my producer said, that was rather warm. We warmed it up.
It was, yes.
We made it warm. Lily was colouring. She needed to keep her hands warm.
Yes,
so
of course.
That's
of course.
what it was, yeah.
Yeah, I was colouring
just looking after my fellow crafter.
You are good, Corrine. You're all heart.
I wasn't sat quite as close as the radiator.
No, I was practically sat on it.
With your coat on.
Yes, always.
Absolutely. So yeah, I hope it was a bit warmer for you there, Val. So yes,
yeah.
But lovely to have you with us now. So enjoy and just look at the beautiful way these have been coloured in. I haven't seen many done with pens, and this is beautiful. I like this more than I like the inks, and the inks look beautiful, but I just think this looks so pretty.
I think going to inks with our embossing folders is just that sort of default. I don't know about you guys at home, but I think I've embossed an image, I'll bring out the inks to bring out that design, but it doesn't just have to be about your inks. Bring your pens into play, and honestly, it's so much fun. You are going to get a different result, which is fabulous. It just gives you that little point of difference. It's just another technique to add to your crafty arsenal, if you like. So for the centre, I've used CT1, CT3 and EB1 just to colour in that centre, and then just finish off, I'm going to show you how we could colour in one of the leaves. So they're quite interesting, these leaves. We've got two that are the same and one that's different. So with these two, the whole image is sort of embossed, whereas that middle one, it's just embossed that line work.
That's going to be so easy to colour, isn't it?
Honestly,
it's like bumper bars at when
you're
bowling, isn't
it? Yes, I do still use those. My aim is not fabulous, but yeah, that's exactly what it's like. So if you are new to colouring, this could be a fabulous way to start using your embossing folders, because it really is like having a safety net. You've got those bumper bars. I'm going to use that phrase, Corrine. That's fabulous, actually. I'll take that.
That's just what it reminds me. You just run your pen up to that line, and it just helps you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's almost like, right, you've got to this point, we're just going to push you back a little bit because you're about to go out the lines. It's almost like a little warning. You go, right, okay, I'm a little bit close to the edge. there, and you just bring your pen back in and add that detail onto there. But so easy to do. So I'm using LG2 to start with, and like I said earlier, all the pens that I'm using to colour in this image are within that collection that we've got on today's show. So perhaps you are new to your illustrators and you're thinking, do you know what, these look absolute like fabulous pens, I want to get colouring with these, they look so easy to colour with, and absolutely they are. Then maybe you want to have a little go with your illustrators. This is a fabulous set to start with. You get such a range of different pens, all in your 4 different colour themed packs. And you can see here, I'm just using the pens within this collection, but I'm still able to achieve so many different types of colours, but so much depth and shade within each colour family as well. So I'm going with a 3-pen blend. So now I'm using my LG4 just to add to the centre, and all I'm doing again with this is just following those lines, the veins that have already been put in by that embossing folder. Literally just following those so easily.
Pretty.
It looks really striking, doesn't it? But so easy.
Fred is saying, I see more illustrators in my future. Yes, Fred. So yes, so do I. And if you buy
I do in mine as well.
If you buy the bundle today, you've got landscape, figure, sketching and seascape in. You've got the 4 packs of 12, giving you the 48 pens, and they will be £73.99 or $133.99, saving you over 25% instead of buying them as single packs at £24.99, because that would be £100, wouldn't it? So yes, absolutely perfect.
Just to finish this off, I'm using the other end. So we've seen how amazing that lovely fine brush nib is, but on the other end we've got a super fine nib. So to finish off this image, I'm literally just pulling out that diamond detail around the edge, and by using that super fine nib, it allows us to get into that really fine detail. So all I've done is I've repeated that same technique that we've just shown, and I've done it all over this entire panel. So exactly the same embossing folder, exactly the same pen colours as you can see. Only difference is I've added, of course, a little bit of one of my clear sparkle pens into the centre of our flowers.
That's lovely.
Now
that
you
is
can
so pretty, it's so elegant, isn't it?
And it's literally, it's the front of a card in itself, so they're
and
so
basically
easy to craft with.
That's be the front of your card.
Pretty much all we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of black card just to really frame this. You know, I love my black mats and layers. I just think it sets off your coloured artwork so beautifully, and it just makes all those colours pop and makes them look even more vibrant.
Navy blue would look nice as well.
It would as well. Do you know what? You could even go with the gold to sort of pick out the centres. So totally up to you, but I've gone with black.
That's
and then
so pretty.
That card base that we created earlier using our brand new multi-purpose card, which is obviously fabulous like we saw for creating our card bases. And again, it's just a slimline card, so super on trend at the moment. And we're going to add our panel onto the centre. I'm using my tape pen. Of course, you could be sticking this on with foam tape if you wanted a little bit of lift. And then just to finish that off, I've taken a sentiment stamp just because I sort of want to fill a little bit of that space there. And
you see, I would be tempted to turn it the other way and fill it, but that looks so classic.
See, that looks lovely.
That looks lovely, but there's something that looks, I like that, how you've done that. I like that a lot more than what I would have naturally have done, if that makes sense. I would have naturally, we were talking about this yesterday, it's what I always call breaking the lines, breaking your frame, and you've done that exactly. You've not tried to centre it, you've done it so that it's not gone past the card, but it's not centred, and it's going over that frame, and it's breaking all those lines, and it just looks
I don't know, beautiful. It just makes it look more finished, it makes it flow a little bit nicer, it looks more professional. But of course, you could be using this embossing folder the other way, absolutely, just turn your sentiment.
But I know I like that. It's not what I would naturally do, but now I've seen it, I'm thinking, yes, like that.
Yes, so just finish it off with our sentiment, and really easy to create, but it's so much fun. So get your pens out. If you've not got any, make sure you grab your illustrators that we've got on today's show, get your embossing folders out and just have a play and get colouring. It's so much fun to put that one together.
That looks absolutely beautiful. I love those colours. So you've seen the collection there for the embossing folders, but you might be after the pens as well to go with them. Now you could use any pens that you've got. Any of these Spectrum Noirs are going to work to do that. But today we've got the illustrators here. And as I said, you've got landscape, figure, sketching and seascape there. Look at that range of colours. So you're going to get your, the colours that are going to work together. So they're going to work absolutely perfectly. And you're going to get all 48 of those pens. just so happens that might fit perfectly into your into one of your storage cases if you bought those yesterday, and that's going to cost you £73.99 or $133.99. But look at the price of that. If you are a platinum member, that's going to drop down to £59.19 or $107.19. So that is perfect. Right, so the next thing I think we're going to look at is our gilding waxes. So here we have them here. So you're going to get all 5 of these gilding waxes. See if I can find the colours on here. So, oh gosh, this is good to, right, somewhere does it tell me? Oh yeah, antique gold. Look at that. Can you see that? Oh no, they're all sealed. Right, so I'll show you at the bottom. Antique gold, look at that. It's got quite a bronzy colour to it. Then we're going to look at Empire gold. I love like that. That's more of your traditional yellow gold. Then we've got, well, this is easy. This is silver. I know that one. I don't need to check that one. That's silver. Then, oh, we've got a different gold this time. This is King gold. Now, that looks, let me just bring in, can you see the difference? It's not as yellow as your traditional gold, but it's not as brassy as your antique gold. So that's your King gold. That's really sophisticated. I don't know if the right word. They're really elegant, a lovely, elegant one. And then this has got to be, oh, Renaissance gold. Look at that. So if we saw, can you see, it's the next one up from there. This one's a bit darker. This one seems to have more light to it. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, you're not going to have to pick. You're going to get all 5 in the bundle, and you're going to save £11.99 if you buy these, and you're going to pick them up today for £47.96 or $67.96. But look at that. If you're platinum member, they're going to drop down to £38.37. So it's under £8 a pot, $54.37. So that is brilliant value. And as long as you put the lids on properly, these are going to literally last you years and years and years. I don't think I've ever seen anyone get to the bottom of a pot. I think people have left the lids off before they've got to the bottom of a pot. That's what I'm just saying. People don't put the lids on properly and then they can't use them rather than get to the bottom. So the next thing we're going to look at, and this is where Lily's going to do her next demonstration for us, is the beautiful duo embossing folders. So she used these earlier on craft card and made us a beautiful box. It was so elegant. And Lily used this one, the cable knit. Now these, you get 2 embossing folders in each one. You get a 5x5, and then you also get a cut and emboss. And are you going to use a cut and emboss in the next one?
I'm going to be using, yeah, both elements.
Right. So Lily will show you how you just need to just change up your plates just slightly. So that's a regular embossing folder. Then you've got a cut and embossing folder. Really easy to use. Bring in your inks, bring in your pens. It's entirely up to you, or maybe sanding blocks, however. Then we've got our delightful dots. I do like this one. I love the the sort of fan effect as well at the bottom. Then we're going on to sort of our Christmassy designs. We've got our delicate snowflake. Look at that. And it's more intense at the top, becomes lighter, and then goes down into that gorgeous scallop snowflake at the bottom. And then finally, you have got your elegant decorations. Now, don't think, every one of these we've shown you on here, they're sort of one piece of card working down, but you can do them separately. So you could have a 5x5, maybe a bit bigger, maybe up to a 6-inch card with your mats and layers, and that could be a stopper or that could be a bar across. Just think about separating them out. You don't have to use them all together just like that. And if you saw earlier with the cable knit, Lily used these ones as the edges of her box, so it worked brilliantly. So just a quickie, where are we up to? So, oh, Alison Lee says, never ever use pens on embossing folders. We'll definitely give it a try. Thanks, Lily. I don't think I have either. Another person, Hannah Hicks, said, never thought of alcohol colouring embossing folders. Patricia says, I've never liked covering up beautiful centres, so I'm glad to have these decorated edges instead with blank centres to put sentiments in. Totally get it, because sometimes if you've got a decorative centre, then you put an embellishment or a sentiment in the middle, you sort of lose it, don't you? Could be a deluxe bookmark if laminated, says Susan Griffiths.
That would be fabulous.
That would be beautiful, wouldn't it? Beautiful card, Lily, says Mary Beth. Susan Griffiths again says a gorgeous card, Lily, and so many helpful tips. Oh, King of Gold is more rosy gold, someone was saying. And then Pam E said, this is a set of illustrators I started with. Now I'm addicted, so I keep buying more. I have to admit, anything with a brush marker, I love. The brush nib is definitely for me. And the illustrators is the best of the both worlds. You've got the brush nib, but you've got that really, really fine detailed bullet. As you saw, Lily was doing the little diamonds with that. So are you ready to show us what we can do with our embossing folder duos?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
I have to say, I love these. They are absolutely fabulous. Honestly, I got playing with these. I was like, there's so much you can do with them. I don't know when to stop. It's one of those, you know. But they are just so much fun. I want to show you, yeah, they're great using them together. And you saw on the boards how fabulous they look when we use the two together. But they work absolutely fabulously using them separately. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our Delightful Dots folder. So exactly the same in every single set, all of the 4 sets within this collection. You get your main embossing folder. So that's just, I don't want to say regular embossing folders, it sort of sells it a little bit short, because regular embossing folders are still absolutely fantastic and we know there's so much we can do with them. But this is our standard sort of embossing folder.
Should we call it your regular embossing folder?
Regular,
that sounds...
yeah, your regular.
You're still feeling like you're underselling it,
I feel cruel and it's like, I don't like it. So that's our regular embossing folder. And then we also get our border, which is not only an embossing folder, but it's also a cut and emboss. But we're going to start with our regular embossing folder. Now I've taken a little piece of, this is our Centura Pearl fresh white cardstock, and it is 3.5 inch square. So we're starting off quite small, but we're going to build this up into quite an interesting card shape. So, because it's a double-sided, again, I'm not worrying about which side of the embossing folder I'm placing my cardstock into. Something I do tend to do with dotty designs like these embossing folders is I'll make sure I line up my cardstock straight.
You have to, don't you? It's so noticeable, because if you one dot out, by the time it runs off the card, we were talking about this earlier, 1 millimetre on this one out, 1 metre, by the time you come to the end, it just looks dreadful, doesn't it?
And quite frankly, no one else might notice it, but if I notice it and I know it's there, I cannot live with it. So we lined up our cardstock in there, and with our regular embossing folder, all it is 2 clear cutting plates, and that's going to go through our Gemini. They are of course going to go through your Gemini Junior as well, and they are the right sort of size for your junior machine. So if that's what you've got, perhaps like our Stephen emailed in earlier saying he's got his rose gold Junior. If you've got your Rose Gold Junior, of course, I'm not jealous at all. But if you do, then you can be using these through those smaller machines as well, and you're still going to get those fantastic finished results. So what's fantastic about this embossing folder is, as ever, the deboss looks fabulous, looks as fabulous as the emboss. Actually, I'm looking at it, and I don't know if I actually prefer the deboss, but 2 different options. So even before we started playing with it, we've got a 2-for-1. Really, and all we're going to do is we're going to take our Harmony Water Reactive Dye ink pad in Lagoon. Now this is part of the bundle that we've actually got on today's show. We've got a lovely collection. I believe you get 10 in there of your water reactive ink pads, and these are perfect ink pads for all your blending and your distressing. So if you want to be adding ink to your embossed designs, then these are going to be great ones to go for.
And so even though that's a pearlised card, it's going on perfectly?
Absolutely, yeah, and you were still seeing the pearlised effect of the card underneath, but we're just getting that blush of colour onto the top. So it's bringing out that detail, adding a little bit of colour onto there. We're using our square blending tool. You'll also find these in one of the bundles we've got on today's show. We've got a fabulous blending collection bundle, but literally just going around in circular motions. You can see that how that's completely transformed. It's gone from that to that, so we've added that detail onto there, and that looks fabulous. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a piece of mirror card. This is actually from our, if you've got our Positive Thoughts Luxury mixed card pack, this is from there. I have to say, I love that Positive Thoughts
collection. Wow, that is mirror. I can see you reflecting in there.
Hello! It is proper mirror card. It's, you know, it's not a little bit shiny, it is properly shiny.
What sort of colour was it? Was it silver or was it a rosy gold?
It's a rosy gold, but it looks really different whatever way you look at it, but it is a pinky rosy goldy type colour.
But a little bit softer than a harsh silver, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So it works really nicely with that blue. But we're going to leave that to one side. So that's the start of our card. But what we're going to bring in now is we're going to bring in our cut and emboss folder. Now, all I've done is I've taken a piece of cardstock. Now, this is measuring 13.5 inches along the long edge. So 13.5 by 5 inches. And then all we've done is we've scored at 1/2 inch from the left, then we've scored at 2.5, 4.5 and 6.5. So that is, we've cut it to 5 inches by 13.5. We've scored at half, 2.5, 4.5 and 6.5. And you might be thinking, where on earth is this going to end up? But it should hopefully all become clear in a moment. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our sandwich for our cutting emboss folders, and it's ever so slightly different to our one that we used earlier. So we're going with our clear cutting plate, which I've just looked on the camera. You can't actually see there's anything there. It's definitely there. Then we're going to go for our metal shim, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take our embossing folder and our piece of card. So in this top longer section, we're going to literally just line up our embossing folder. And don't forget, with your cutting emboss folders, it's exactly the same as a die. The side of the cardstock, if we're not using double-sided cardstock, that we want to be shown needs to touch that side of the die. So we're going to line this up into our folder. So we're just going to get that nice and straight. And if you're worried about positioning this, just leave a couple of pencil marks onto your folder, not onto your folder, onto your cardstock even, just where that's straight. But I'm going to do it by eye.
Would you ever put a piece of tape on to?
I don't tend to with embossing folders, but absolutely you can do, just to tape that down. But all we're going to do is we're going to pop our top plate on top there. I'm going to run that through, but I'm going to reverse it back out once I've heard it's cut.
Right.
So can you see that there was a bit of a crack and I could hear the pitch change? I know that my embossing folder's gone through there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to save time. Rather than let that go all the way through, I'm just going to reverse it back out.
Also means you're not going to get any marks on your cardstock.
Absolutely, because my card is 13.5 inches, it's slightly longer than the plates, so I'm not going to get any marking onto my cardstock either, and it's just so much easier. So can you see we've got our waist there? So that is our waist. I mean, if you cut that from a large piece of cardstock, that could be another border. I mean, I know I don't throw anything else away, but we could even use that as a mask. That could be clouds in the sky. So never throw anything away. You know what it's like with us crafters. We keep everything. But the piece that we actually meant to have is this gorgeous piece here. So we can see we've embossed that detail in, and we've also got that cut border. What we're going to do is to keep that continuity flowing between that piece we did earlier, we're also going to take our same ink pad, which is our Lagoon ink pad, our water reactive. I'm taking our blending tool and we're just going to bring out that detail to add that colour into that section, just like so. So really, really nice and easy to create that. So adding our ink onto there, and then this is going to form the base of our card. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our tape runner. So what we've got is we've started to fold up these score lines. So we're literally just scoring them in exactly the same direction. So we're doing valley folds along all of them. And then this tab here at the top, we're going to add some adhesive onto there. You can use your red liner tape. I'm using my tape runner for speed. If you are worried about lining stuff up and getting it perfect first time, a little bit of tacky glue onto the back of there, and that'll give you a bit of wiggle room. And what we want to do is we want to line this up so that this is a square with perfect right angles.
So the fourth side of the square is effectively the back of that piece of card?
Absolutely, yeah. So we're going to have the 3 sides, and then the back is that back piece, and so we're literally just going to line that up.
You could put a mark, couldn't you? So
absolutely.
What did you say each one of those
So each one is, let me just read them out. Each one is 2 inches. So if you put
marked up 2 inches from that last score line.
So if you put a mark about there, then you know it's absolutely perfect. But I'll be honest, I'm not one for measuring. If it looks about right, it probably is. If it looks right to your eyes, then it's definitely right. But if you look from the side,
that
and if it looks like a
square, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you look like you've got 4 right angles, then you're about bob on. So it should be good. So that's the start of our card base. Something a little bit different. We're actually going to create a pop-up front step panel, and I was actually supposed to stick my matte and layer onto there first. So let's see if we can peel this back.
You see, these tape pens, you have a little bit of time, don't you?
Because I didn't press that down too hard just yet, because I was just seeing if it was straight. It's a good job.
Recovery there, Lily. I like it.
Yeah, and that was why. So I'm taking some of the pattern papers. Again, this is from that Positive Thoughts collection, and that same matte and layer of that, we established it was like a blushy rose goldy sort of colour. We're adding that onto there, and then I'm going to add an extra little bit of tape pen to the back just in case that's lost some of its sticking. And this is just so I can show you the same process again in case you missed the first time. I'm showing you again.
Good recovery there,
I'm
Lily.
all heart, aren't I? You know, I'm just thinking about you guys at home. I'd never mess anything up. Another way you could do this is you could line up the edge with your glass mat and just literally use, if you choose a line on your glass mat and use that to line it up, see, I love using my glass mat for stuff like that, just for centralising stuff and lining it up. Then if we look from the side, we can see that's about right. And I'm happy with this, it's definitely right. So I'm going to smooth that down. And if it's wrong and I've forgotten something else, and now it's too late. So that's the start of our card with our back panel mat and layer onto there. Now we've got another piece of that same snow white, no, it's not snow white, it's fresh white Centura pearl. We've cut this to 4 inches by 6.5, and we've scored again at 1/2 and 2.5. Then all we're going to do is we're going to add, first of all, we're going to add our mat and layer on, just because it'd be a little bit easier. So this is that piece. Do you remember at the very beginning, we embossed this piece using the regular, or whatever we're going to call it, standard regular, call it what you will, embossing folder. We matted and layered it onto that mirror card. And we're going to add that into the centre of that.
Definitely makes it easier to do it before you put it on, doesn't it?
Definitely. I remembered that one, so that was doing quite well. And then I'm going to add my tape runner onto, onto that side of my tab. And then we're going to stick this. So this is what we call a pop-up front step panel card. I'm going to stick that onto there, but first of all I'm going to add on my mats and layers. So I've got a few mats and layers, that same pattern cardstock that we used on that back piece, just to get the continuity between all these layers and all these different pieces on our card. So we're going to add one onto there. And I should have thought, if I thought beforehand, but it's no problem. We're going to add our mats and layers onto that step front. It's always good to try and add your mats and layers on before you construct it, but if you forget, like we all do from time to time, it's no problem at all. We can just still add them onto there with not an issue. And another one is going to go onto that top section. So we're adding that onto there.
Right, so I don't know if everybody's noticed, up at the top it says cartload on the top there. That's because this was a cartload deal a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago. So we've retained that cartload price, and that's why you're getting these here at $14.99. Now, these embossing folders are normally $9.99 each, so you're getting them all 8, or let's say 4 pairs, for the price of 1.5 pairs. So it's an absolute fantastic deal. If I remember rightly, it is a saving of over 60%. So that is amazing. Wow, that looks brilliant.
Isn't it something a little bit different? So we've added that panel onto there. So all we did is we added a little bit of the tape runner to that tab. So I stuck that first, and then I added on some of the tape runner to that bottom section of that piece to stick that onto there. But I think it needs a little bit more embellishment. So I've taken one of the toppers. Again, this is from the Positive Thoughts collection.
Is it quite rigid, or does it fold? Does it?
Wow. It can actually fold down flat. So you'd look at that and think there is no way that is going in an envelope, and it literally just folds flat into a regular envelope.
Concertinas down.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting card shape, but pop-up front step panel card. Not easy to say, but apparently that is what it's called. So we've added again a thin board of that same cardstock to keep that flow between all the mats and layers. Thought that's quite a nice sentiment, I'm here for you. Just thought it's something a little bit uplifting if you just want to let somebody know that, you know what, you're in my thoughts, I'm here if you need anything. But you know, just a pretty card to send through the post, just to remind somebody that you care. Thought that's a lovely sentiment to go onto that. And then just to finish it off, I do love a butterfly, and I know a lot of you guys at home love your butterflies and flowers as well. So I've taken a couple of the butterflies from that die cut topper pad, one larger, one smaller. I've shaped them a little bit using my pokey tool. I'm going to add one onto that top left, then a little one onto the bottom right. And that is literally going to finish off our card, but something a little bit different. So using our embossing folder almost like an edgeable, like we'd use our edgeable dies, using our regular embossing folder that you get within the set even, mixing and matching some of your pattern papers to create something that looks really, really quite different. It does stand beautiful, and it also folds flat as well.
And I love how you separate, even though it's a duo embossing folder, you've separated them out just that little bit. You know, they don't have to be used in a solid piece. Obviously they can, but they don't have to be. So if you like that, then the details on the screen are there for the embossing folder duo collection with all 8 elements. They're 4 pairs, $14.99 or $19.99 in dollars, or if you're a platinum member, $11.99 or $15.99. But to be able to complete that card, you're also going to need the ink pads. Now, Lily chose to use the water reactive ink pads. So these are brilliant for blending and distressing. And these are going to come in today at $38.99. So this is brilliant, or $54.99. And you're going to get your Bordeaux. Your Bordeaux's quite sort of a ready brown, let's call it that. Absolutely perfect. You're going to get your Smoke Plume, which is, it's a grey, but it's a sort of a greeny grey almost. Yes, it's quite a warm grey. You're going to get your Smoked Emerald. Ooh, there's a lot of smoke going on here, isn't there? That's a really dark green, sort of like your hunter green. You're going to get your Green Topaz. I do like that one, really smart. And your Grasshopper. So yeah, you'll notice we use a lot of this one. I think I use it in quite a lot. You've got your Spring Meadow, which is a bit more uplifting, sort of going more towards your citrusy yellow greens. You've got your Seal Brown. I do like that one. That one is absolutely gorgeous, a really nice deep brown. But then we're going to bring in Sandstone. But look at those. If you pair those two together, you're going to get some fantastic results. These are going to blend together beautifully. So think of your pairings and your trios of how these are going to mix together. Sandstorm, or I do like this one, Damson Wine. So this one is so pretty. And I'm thinking if you do this one with some of your blue, we've got Lagoon and all the rest, and mixing them together. I'm looking at all the colours in front of me. Absolutely beautiful, Damson Wine. And finally, you're going to get what I've just mentioned, your Lagoon as well. Now, you're going to get all 10 of these ink pads today for $38.99 or $54.99. So that is £31.19 if you're a Platinum member, or $43.99. And remember, because this is over your $25 mark, then because you're buying it before tomorrow night, you're also going to get your 100 bonus points. So yeah, perfect time to add up your Club Inspire points. Now, if you've been watching all day, unlike we've had oh, I forgot who it was. Oh, it was Val, who had been out all day. You'll have to perhaps watch Craft Along later to see. We had Pam join us over in America to help us make the triptych card frame using the card front colouring pads. And she picked different images to Lily, and she's actually laid it out differently. But here is Pam's image. That is beautiful. And
that's incredible, Pam.
She's got that colour running through, that pink, so everything ties together. And then the flowers on either side with the elephant in the middle. That is absolutely beautiful.
Wow,
and you
Pam,
don't need
amazing.
all the extra borders around the edge, do you? Because there's so much detail in that card as well. So, you know, she's used those shadow box frames, which is a beautiful way to use them.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Pam. It's lovely to see everyone's artwork. So if you have crafted along, send your pictures in. I want to see them, but fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us, Pam, and what you've created is stunning.
Okay, so I just mentioned that if you buy today and you spend over £25, $25, you're going to get an extra 100 points on your Club Inspire. Why? What do you need these points for? Well, there's a little video that's going to show you exactly what Club Inspire is all about.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the Crafters Companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Quick Buy, all your crafting must-haves in a flash.
Make your die cutting tools last as long as your love for crafting
with the Gemini Accessories clear cutting plates. Your metal dies are put under lots of pressure with each pass through your Gemini die cutting machine. So to make sure they cut crisp, clean, delicate designs for years to come, you need to look after your dies, and that's where the Gemini Accessories clear cutting plates come in.
Quick buy. Get yours now. Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
Quiet. The neighbours.
I'm all out of Zoom. I'm so lost without you. I'm not singing.
Lisa, if you email in, don't send a picture of your air fryer. Make sure it's something creative.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
Joy, there's not a dry eye in the studio here. Debbie's welling up, I'm welling up.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV. Create every day.
And welcome back. Lily, can I just ask you a question? Because Sherry saying, could you just say again, please, what that card shape is called?
It is. I just need to get out my my notes.
Now, this is where it shows you have to read questions properly. So I read it. It says, this card shape is very unique. What's it called again, please? I tuned out. No, she didn't say that. She said, this card shape is very unique. What's it called again, please? Turned out fabulous, Lily.
It is called
read it complete, yes.
Pop-up front step panel card. Pop-up front step panel card.
There you go. Yeah. And she's saying that late at night. There we go.
Yes.
Susan loves this technique, loves the technique, Lily, and the colour and texture palette. So does Lynn Harvey. She says, stunning card, a bit different, and I love it. Janine says, stunning card. Yeah, everybody is loving that. Right, so this is our white multi-purpose card. So this is quite a new, I don't think you've seen this very much at all yet. Maybe launched it just yesterday?
It was Thursday was the first time we had it on CTV, so very, very exciting, hot off the press.
It certainly is. So you're going to get 3 packs of 60 sheets. So you're going to get your 180 sheets in total, and you've got 300 GSM. So as Lily was showing you, it's strong enough to make your card bases or your mats and layers. You're going to be able to make your frames, your box frames, your boxes with it, all of these. So it's just a pure white card, and it's going to be perfect for stamping onto. As we were saying earlier, if you're going to be using your alcohol pens, stick with your Nina card. Your Nina card is there for your alcohol pens. And again, if you're going to do your watercolour pens, then you would want your watercolour card. But if you're stamping your sentiment like Lily had on the first card you did, you would just use your purpose card, but this is perfect for your, like say, your regular stamping, your mats and layers, your card bases, everything like that. And look at that, you're going to get all of this. So 180 sheets for £19.98 or $29.98. But if you're a platinum member, that's going to drop right down to £15.98 or $23.98. So go on, look at all of the products we've got on the show today, and you'll find that there as well. So right, we have got some mini embossing folders. Oh, I'm just going to bend down and grab these here because I didn't pick them up. Now, you are going to get, I've got it all written down here, you're going to get 5-pack of mini embossing folders. So you have got your geometric diamonds. I think Lily might have some cards that she can show you. Have you got some cards? I've only got them in the packet, so I don't know how well.
Actually.
Can you see that? Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Your geometric diamonds. Oh, I'm going to turn it around, look. There we go. Think about this. Oh. Now, this one is your, there it is, Butterfly Dreams. Absolutely perfect. And you can see that they've put that one on the front. Oh, why couldn't they have done that with them all? The next one we've got is our decorative lace. I'm going to turn that round. Can you see that on there? All that lovely detail. Your Regency floral. So all of these embossing folders are, I did read it, 2.75 inches by 5.75 inches. So they're really nice size for panels, or you could do 1 or 2 down the edges of your card. So what did I say? That one, that was your Regency lace, and you can see that design on there. And then finally, you've got your Queen of Hearts. Oh, this one is lovely. I'm going to turn it straight around. Look at that. So you've got your diamonds with your hearts on, not all of them, and then dots in between. That, I don't know how you can see, if you see that really close up, you've got all that detail. That is absolutely gorgeous. Now, these are all 3D embossing folders. So although they're mini, they're really going to pack a punch because they, like I say, you've got the 3D elements. Now, these are normally $3.99 each, but you're going to get all 5 of these today for $13.96. No, £13.96 even, or $14.52. But that's going to drop down to £11.17 if you're a platinum member, or $11.62 in America. So that is an amazing price. We're just talking just over £2 or $2 per folder if you're a platinum member, which is great value. And they are 3D. So remember, 3D embossing folders means it embosses at different levels throughout the whole folder. So can you show us how they work, or some samples maybe?
Absolutely. Should we have a little look, have a little play with these?
Yes, please.
We might call them mini embossing folders, and they have been designed to work perfectly with your Gemini mini machine. So they'll fit through there just fine if you have got your mini, your Gemini mini. But we're going to show with this card, they really do pack a punch, and not just in terms of that amazing depth that we've got onto that 3D folder, but of course we can be using them for our big cards as well. We're going to do a card that's about 6 inches by 9 inches, by no means a small card. So if you're looking at these and thinking, well, I do 8 by 8, 7 by 7, quite large cards, A5 cards, are they for me? Absolutely they are. We can just build our card from these folders, but it gives us so many options. What I've done is I've taken our decorative lace folder, absolutely stunning design on here. I have to say, anything with lace on, I just absolutely love. It gives us such a beautiful, delicate effect. And I've taken a piece of that lovely multi-purpose card that we've got on the show that Corrine's just been showing you, and I've cut it to just over, it's about 5.5 by 2.5 inches. So 300 GSM, it's perfect for embossing for the technique that we're going to be using here. It'll take all your inks beautifully, it'll take your embossing powders. It's perfect to die cut. It's just your sort of bread and butter card set that you need within your stash.
And it's not going to crack, is it, when you're with an embossing folder? And that's key, because how many times have you put lighter weight card in and then it's cracked when it's gone through?
It looks, I'll be honest, it looks terrible. You can't use it. It does not look good. So if we open up our folder, we've got an emboss and a deboss side. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the deboss side. So this is where the outline isn't raised. It's sort of the detail is raised. So on the other side, the outline, that line work is raised, but we're taking the other side where that sort of, the inside, that filled in bit is the raised part. And we're taking our ink pad, and I know, Corrine, you were saying you love this colour earlier, the Damson Wine. It's such a rich purple. It's fabulous. So if you're getting that bundle of inks, you will get that folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a piece of white cardstock just so you can see what I'm doing, and all I'm doing is I'm taking my ink pad, I'm going straight from my ink pad into the folder, just being nice and gentle. I'm not grinding the ink in or anything like that. I'm just gently rubbing in circular motions to transfer some of my ink from that ink pad onto that debossed surface of our folder. And don't worry, these are water reactive ink pads, so they'll just wash off. Once we've done, that ink will easily wash off from our folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our sandwich. So with these being, I say sandwich, you know, we've not got ham and pickle or anything like that, our die cutting sandwich. So we're taking our clear cutting plate, magnetic shim, and then all we're going to do is we're going to line up our piece of cardstock. Now you can tape this into position, but I'm going to risk it for a biscuit, so they say. We're just going to pop that into the centre, and then at the very top of our sandwich, our lovely plastic sandwich, not a ham and pickle one, we've got our frosted plastic shim. And all we're going to do is we're going to run that through our Gemini machine, and what's going to happen is we're going to get a letterpress effect onto there. So running that through, with them being mini folders, like we said earlier, perfect for your Gemini mini. If you've got your midi, they'll be perfect. Your junior, your go. I have to say, I do love this reveal every single time. All we do is we open up our folder, and we see we've transferred the ink onto there just like so. So we've got the ink in the debossed area. So the raised area is white and we've got no ink onto there, but the debossed area is filled in with that purple ink. And of course we could be doing all sorts of funky techniques with that. We could be doing it with opaque inks and then adding some of our, perhaps our, what's the word? Embossing powders, that's the one. Our clear embossing powders onto there and doing lots of different techniques. You could be using an ombre of inks, different colours onto there, but very, very easily with just the one colour of ink, literally just rubbing that into our folder, we get a fabulous effect onto there. So I've taken some of our glittering gold cardstock. That's from one of our 12 by 12 inch luxury card pads. So you get sort of a pearlised card and your glitter card within those. Those are definitely on the website, they're absolutely fabulous. But a thin border of the gold onto there, and that's just going to frame that beautifully. I've gone for gold because the purple is quite a warm tone. It's quite a regal, rich, opulent tone onto there. By adding the gold onto the backing, it really brings out that detail and gives you that opulent effect onto there.
Wow, that's just such
it pops,
a beautiful
doesn't it?
Effect, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't fade, does it? It's held that colour so well.
It really does. And I've done exactly the same with another of our embossing folders. So I've added that same ink into our folder, the way we did with the one I've just shown you. Exactly the same size. Again, that fantastic quality multi-purpose white card. And again, we've just framed that onto our gold. We're going to leave those to one side for a minute. But I have done the same with the butterfly one as well. So same technique using our butterflies, letterpress techniques. We've got 3 of those and we're going to pop them to one side just for a minute. What we've done now is we've taken that same butterfly embossing folder, so we've letterpressed it once, then we've taken a panel of exactly the same size, exactly the same white multi-purpose card, and we've just embossed it, but we've not added any inks. What we're going to do now is going to show different techniques, same one that we looked at earlier with our pop-up step front panel card, or whatever we call it. That one, yeah. The technique we did with that, and we're going to add our ink afterwards. So perhaps traditionally what we'd think of doing with our embossing folders, we're going to add our ink, and I'm only focusing on the butterflies here. I'm not worrying about any of the other detail. So I'm taking this square blending tool and I'm going around in circular motions, being quite gentle because I want the ink to mainly be on that embossed image rather than in the background. You are of course going to get some of the background with a little bit of colour on there. That's no problem at all, but mainly we want to pick out that detail in your butterflies.
I think the rule of thumb, Lily, isn't it? If you want to, if on the embossed side, if you want to ink the background, you ink the folder.
Yeah.
If you want to ink the emboss, you do it after it's embossed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's just simple to remember. If it's the background you want to ink, you do it. You ink the folder, and then it goes straight onto the card. But if you want to ink the raised bit, you do it afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah. And you can see the different effects we get. Same embossing folder, same ink, totally different effect. But I'm always saying about your dies, your stamps, your embossing folders, saying about all sorts of different things, even our papers. Don't look at it as just the one image or just the one piece. Look at it in component parts and start to break it down as you look at it. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to cut it, and don't worry about how neatly or not I'm cutting this. I'm going to cut it into 3 sections, into the 3 butterflies. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm literally just going to fussy cut this butterfly out. So I'm leaving a couple of mils border of white around the edge. I'm not cutting right up to that embossed line.
I was looking at that when you were inking it. I thought, oh, she hasn't gone right to the edge with the ink. That's really strange. I wonder what she's going to do. Is she going to go in with another colour? Now I know. You're going to cut out the embossed image.
Corrine, you should know me well enough now, Corrine, to know that anything that can be fussy cut, I will be fussy cutting. It is my thing. Whenever I get a new product, it doesn't matter what it is, first thought is, I wonder if I can fussy cut into that. For me,
so I asked this exact same question of Craig yesterday, so I'm going to ask it of you, because what we've worked out so far is there is no right and there is no wrong when you come to crafting. Crafting is so personal, and you do what works for you. Fussy cutting, large scissors or small scissors? Or middle size?
Middle. These are probably slightly larger. I'd probably use my smaller size of scissors, but I am fairly small scissors, nothing too fiddly, because I just think, oh my goodness,
Yeah,
I haven't got the time.
Craig had his really small scissors yesterday, and he whizzed round it. I was wow, that goes round really, really quickly. I tend to go for large scissors. I think you're sort of somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. I can't make a decision. That sounds about right when it comes to crafty
what scissors
stuff.
are on your desk when you come to
It depends what I can find in the mess, quite frankly, Corrine. What's not under a pile of 10,000 sheets of cardstock is what I'll be using. But it's one of those things, it's so personal. If you're new to fussy cutting, try out a few different pairs of scissors. Try out your big scissors, try out your small scissors, and find what works for you and go with that.
But I think everybody, and I was watching you then without saying anything, we keep our scissors still and we turn the cardstock.
Absolutely.
If you look at that, you can almost see your scissors are staying parallel with the grids.
Yeah.
You don't turn the scissors much. They move a little bit, but not much. It's the cardstock that moves every time.
Absolutely. That's going to give you that smooth finishing. You're not going to get any jaggedy edges. Something else that I do is I actually angle my scissors a little bit. I won't have them dead on like that. I angle them a little bit, and I find that's easy, and it gives you a neater finish. So can you see I'm moving the cardstock, so I'm sort of feeding it through the scissors, moving that cardstock, turning all the time, and my scissors are ever so slightly angled.
You're doing the effect of what a die would do, aren't you?
Absolutely,
you're beveling the card under just like a die would. Because I think out and out you are naturally a die cutter, aren't you? Like myself, die cutting comes first.
Absolutely, but it's quite funny because somebody was once asking me, oh, you always fussy cut, what is sort of your secret? And I wasn't quite sure what to say, and so they sat and watched me for a little bit fussy cutting, which was quite a funny experience in itself. But they said, do you know something that you do? And I says, what's that? And they picked up that I angled my scissors, and it's something that I never even realised I was doing. They said, you hold your scissors at an angle. I said, I'll do it, and I noticed that I do it. And they found that when they actually angled their scissors like I had been, not knowing that I was doing it, they found it so much easier to have the scissors at an angle. I don't know why, but if it works for you, then definitely go for it. But you can see we've got such a neat finished effect onto there. You could almost think that was a cut and emboss folder. But what it is, it's like I'm going to say regular embossing folder. It's not because it's 3D, but we've got our embossing folder and we've literally just cut into it. So you're getting absolutely a 2-for-1 on there. So what we could be doing is we could be using those as separate embellishments on perhaps this project or another project, or what we could be doing is we could be taking some of our foam pads and we can be actually decoupaging these onto the top. So what I like to do is I like to always add shape and dimension to things that I'm layering over the top. So I tend just to take the end of my pokey tool. Anything that's nice and round and allows you to curve that cardstock a little bit is going to work perfectly. And
do you agree? Patty says, I love to fussy cut while watching TV. It's something that you can do that doesn't require a lot of brain power and it's relaxing for me.
Absolutely. I love colouring in front of the TV. Well, I mean, I don't really watch a lot of TV. It's usually Crafters TV, to be fair, that I'm watching. But yeah, I tend to colour or fussy cut in front of the TV. I'll never just sit down and watch the telly. I've got to be crafting at the same time. But yeah, fussy cutting's a perfect one for that. So you might want to sit down on an evening. Perhaps you've got a load of decoupage that you want to cut out. Get that all done on an evening, then you come into your craft room the next day and you can start making your cards or other projects with the elements that you've cut out. That works really nicely. So layering these up onto it, I think those are exactly the same butterfly, so I'm not going to worry which one I'm going to add onto there. And another thing that divides opinion, and I think I know what your preference is, Corrine, but you'll have to remind me, when you are doing your 3D sort of decoupage in your layers, are you a foam pad girl or are you a glue gel girl?
Glue gel.
I thought you were. See, I love my foam pads. I know Craig's the same. Craig loves his foam pads.
Yeah, now I love the
Collal 3D glue gel.
The glue gel, because I like the shape I can get with it.
Yeah, see, it's funny, people always say, oh, if you want to get shape, you've got to use your 3D glue gel, but I very, very strongly disagree.
Yeah, I know, like you were just saying, there is no right, there is no wrong with crafting. It is so personal. And, you know, I could say, oh, I love using my tape runner, and you could say, well, actually, I like using my wet glue. I've gone through phases, and I always used to use, you know, the dual-sided tape, and then all of a sudden I realised I was using wet glue, and, you know, how did that happen? It just changed, it just naturally changed.
Funny, isn't it? And then there will be, you know, I love my foam pads, but there'll be days I go into my craft room and all I'll use all day is my 3D glue gel, and it's like, oh, what's that all about? But yeah, I do tend to go for my foam pads instead. But of course, we've got options for everyone on the website. So we've added our butterflies on there. It just gives us such a different effect onto that
beautiful.
folder. Just I say lifts it. It literally does lift it because we have got a bit of lift with the foam pads on there. But it gives us that point of difference. So we're going to bring in our card base. And I did say earlier, we're not going small with this one. We're going for a big card base. It is 6 1/4 by 9 inches. So by no means a small card. You know, I was saying earlier how my cards are getting bigger, and I think this is living proof of that.
I like a 10 by 7 card base.
I do.
That's one I've used quite a lot of.
I have to say my card bases are usually irregular sizes. They're not sort of your standard sizes and shapes.
I'll start with the 10 by 7 and maybe trim a little bit off.
Yeah, or your card starts off small, so you're making your topper to start with, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you're piling more and more onto it. But yeah, it's just all the fun of crafting, getting lots of your crafty goodies out and just having a play. So I always say it's important when you are laying out your cards, before you stick anything down, just lay it out. Work out your positioning, work out your spacings, and then when you're happy with it, actually, I always say, don't commit to the stick. Once you're happy with it, get it stuck down, but until then, just have a play around with it to work out your spacing. At this point, I might be taking a little picture of that just on my phone, so I've got a reference as to where it's going to go, but I think I should be all right to remember where that's going. So then we're going to take our backing off of our foam tape. Oh, it's ripped on me. I hope it's not going to be a naughty foam tape. Can't be doing with that today. Oh, I don't know if any of you saw the other week when I had that terrible foam tape and the backing wouldn't come off. It was an absolute
I've got
nightmare.
a roll like that on the go at the moment.
Oh, they are. Honestly, it's the worst.
I think it cracks, and if it cracks,
it's just you've had it, and there's nothing you can do. There's no saving it. So I tend to, at that point, I'll just put some wet glue on the back.
I was thinking to myself, oh, how are you going to see this? You do exactly like I do. You do your 2 outside ones first.
Absolutely.
Because then your middle panel will go in the centre, and you're not trying to make it all be even. Good tip, if you are doing multiple panels, always do your outsides first.
Definitely.
And then you make the middle one, you even it up with what space is left. If you try to go 1, 2 and 3 in order, you'll sometimes find that by the time you get to 3, you've got a bigger border on the outside or no border at all because you've over-guessed it.
Well, quite frankly, the amount of times I've got to the 3rd one, it's hanging over the edge and I've had to do some sort of botch job to try and make the card look right. It's just, I got to the point where I thought, right, no, enough is enough. We're doing the 2 at the edges and then we're doing the middle one. And honestly, it is so much easier, I cannot tell you. But always lay it out first so you've got a good idea of where it's going to go and then add on your centre one. So in order to finish it off, we had a little look at some of our card front colouring pads earlier, and we were saying how fabulous these sentiments are, and that's exactly where this sentiment has come from. It's just come from one of our colouring front card pads, and using this with our gold mats and layers, everything's going to tie together beautifully. And I think I'm going to have that, like Corrine was saying earlier, we're going to break the frame ever so slightly, but then to balance that detail on the bottom right up to the top left, so we've got that diagonal flow going on the card. I've taken some gold ribbon.
It is all about balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about balance and flow and just getting that, it's sort of the eye's journey, and taking your eye on a journey through that card and making everything balance and look sort of harmonious. So by adding that onto there.
You see, Rhonda is half with you and half not with you. So she says, I'm a foam pad girl, Lily. That was her first comment a few minutes ago.
But
and now she's just said, I do just the opposite. I put the middle one in first.
Ooh, do you know what? I might try that. I may very well try that.
As long as you mark it right and you get it in exactly the middle, then it's going to work. That is so pretty. That gold lifts that so well.
Doesn't it just? I'll be honest, I was looking at these when I first started making this card, and I thought, what colour am I going to do with my mats and layers for this? And I thought, do you know what? With the purple being quite a rich, warm tone, gold will work. And
very
doesn't
regal,
it just?
isn't it? If you think of
Absolutely.
Coronation,
Yes.
Purple and your gold, they work so well together, don't they?
But just goes to show, they might be mini embossing folders, but by Jove, that is not a mini card, is it? That is a whopping great card.
And that's just 3 of your 5-pack of mini embossing folders. And you're going to get all 5 today for £13.96 or $14.52. Absolute bargain. It's absolutely perfect. So if you love your embossing folders, try some of those techniques. Now, if you are impressed with your embossing folders, then we have got our embossing folder craft kit. So this was craft kit number 39. Had to have a look on here. And I'll show you what we got on here. Right, now, I haven't got a camera overhead, so I shall show you what you've got. Now, these started off at £24.99 and dollars. So today they have been dropped down to £15 or $15 each. And that's going to give you 40% saving. So, yes. Did you know, Lilly is the one that puts all our shows together. So you've got Lilly to thank for that. Right, let me move this over a little bit. Let me move these little GT cards over here, and I can show you. Let me just put this here. Oh, they've managed to find a camera for me. There we go. So what have we got in here? I've opened this up. They are beautifully packaged. I think all of the boxes are. Now you've got these gorgeous word sentiments. So this is a cardstock, but these have been laser cut on here. So you've got your birthday, your happy birthday, you love, all the sentiments on there. Absolutely gorgeous. Maybe you're going to ink these, maybe you're going to colour these. Absolutely gorgeous. And they just literally just pop out. I'm going to be careful not to pop them out. You have got your ribbons. Now, we normally do this. This is our standard way of doing it. Your 3 sets of 3. So you get your 9 ribbons in total, 3 of your large, 3 of your middle and 3 of your small in your satin. I love these colours. Look at that, the green, the pink and the yellow. You already know what this box is going to look like, don't you, from those colour swatches. And then you're going to have your gems. You won't have some missing like this one. But again, these are going to be perfect colour match for your yellows, your pinks and your greens. Go through there. What else have we got in here? We've got some papers. Right, so I've got, let me just split these down. Work that right. So you have got your pattern cardstock, which is absolutely beautiful. Again, following in those colours. I love this. You've got different styles. You've got your pinks, your greens and your yellows. Absolutely gorgeous. Now you're going to get 220 elements in total in this. Now your plain cardstock or your solid cardstock is a double-sided cardstock. This is a lot thicker than your pattern cardstock. So you're going to get the gorgeous. Oh, let me put that one back where it should go. You're going to get your corally pink, you're going to get your green, you've got your orange, you've got your, I called that coral, so no, that's more of a coral.
Salmon?
That's salmon, yes.
Salmon, maybe.
Yeah, and then your sort of citrusy yellow. And again, these are going to work beautifully with your ribbons. Can you see how everything goes together? Now, I'm going to put these bits to one side for 1 minute. So you've also got, what's that? Is that just a piece of card? Yeah, it's just a piece of card. You've got your envelopes, and your cards. You've got your 6x6s, your 5x7s. You've got the cards and the envelopes, and your 5x7 4x6s. So you're going to get all of those. So you've got your envelopes and your cards. Now, this is an embossing folder box. So you've got your stamps. Celebrate your day. You are beautiful to me. You deserve a very special day. The secret ingredient is always love. Life is beautiful. Sending warm wishes. Beautiful, beautiful sentiments. But then you are also going to get your embossing folders. So you've got 3, what are these, 5-inch embossing folders, I think? I haven't got a ruler. I think they're 5-inch embossing folders. Pretty certain they are. So you've got your 3 5-inch embossing folders, your zigzag or rick-rack, your dots and your filigree. And then you have also got, this is, the value in here is amazing, you have got your cut and emboss embossing folder. So just like Lily was showing you previously, you can do exactly the same on there. This is packed. 220 elements in all, between your cards, your embossing folders, your stamps, your pattern papers, your solid papers, your sentiments. So you've got sentiments in stamps and in paper, your ribbons and your embellishments. So if you've really thought, oh, I've got a few embossing folders, I want to take it to the next level, then this is the perfect way. £15 or $15, which I think that is a gorgeous gift price as well. That
Absolutely,
is,
yeah.
Or stocking filler. I know we're April. An Easter present. This is going to be better for your figure than an Easter egg.
Absolutely,
Definitely,
and it's not going to be gone in 5 minutes either.
Right, let me just show you quickly. You can use your embossing folders. Look at this, we've mixed it with those paper. Oh, look, that's the dotty one. So this is a much finer dot than the one you were looking at. So they're going to complement each other perfectly. We're not just giving you embossing folders that you've seen before, so these are completely different. You could be making your zigzag cards out of your embossing folders. Look at this one on the background. I do like that with the rick-rack or the zigzag, and then just lightly dusted over the top, I think, with an ink pad to lift that colour to make it two-tone. How about that with your dotty? So that, as you can see, is much bigger than the embossing folder. So what we've done is we've put 2 pieces in and joined them at the middle. How about joining them so that they look like those duo embossing folders? You can see there. Oh, look at this. This has got a beautiful sort of like frill by doing multiple layers, and again with this zigzag. I like this one. So this is doing the letter pressing that Lily was showing you. So white cardstock, and we have inked the embossing folder with the pink so that you get that beautiful look. I'll show you some more later, but oh, shall we show that one? Bring in those gilding waxes. The gilding waxes we've got on the show, those will look beautiful. So that is all to do with box 39, and as we said before, £15 or $15. If you are a platinum member, that's going to drop right down to £12. That's half the price of it normally. So yeah, absolutely amazing value. Let me move those right out of the way so that you can see. And then the next box we've got, and now I've had these on the show myself. I love this one. This is box 43. So this is all about silhouette stencils and stamps. So we're going to show you a few more bits on stencils as well today. So this is your silhouettes and stencils. Let me move over a little bit. There we go. Right, again, beautifully wrapped. I'm going to leave those ones out for 1 minute. So you have got your ribbons. You've got 2 sets of ribbons in this one, unless there's another one. Yeah, 2 sets of ribbons in your larger and your medium. And again, you've got these beautiful colours in there. You've got watercolour cardstock. Now, that's quite impressive because we're going to be doing, you might want to do a lot of your watercolour techniques with your backgrounds, with your stencils. And to make that work, we're going to give you your, oh, there's just the envelopes. We're going to give you some cards. Now, we're going to give you cards in black and white. So this is your 4x6s in both black and white. And then your 5x7s. There was another ribbon. Thought there might have been. Another set of cards in your 5x7, again in your black and your white. Let's put those together. That pleases me better, seeing them all together in the right order. So you've got your 5x7s and your 4x6s, and also your watercolour cardstock as well. And then you're going to have your stamps. So your stamps are they're going to go, when you see the themes, you'll see how we've got Christmassy, you've got magical, you've got sparkle all the way. Now for each one of these, you're going to get 2 of these together. So let me work this out. So you're going to have your positive and your negative. So this is your tropical one, as you can see there. So you've got your positive and your negative, and I'll show you why you need the both in the minute. Oh, this set might be missing a set. Oh no, it's here. I've got it to the side. I think it was missing a set of stamps. That was me. I moved it to one side. Overthinking this. Then you've got your gorgeous woodland effect with the positive and the negative. And then you've got your lovely snowy scene. Now, if you are at all unsure how to use these, there are tutorials on our Crafters Companion website, because I've been and looked at this, and our lovely Debbie Robinson is showing you lots of ways, because I know she's shown you with this one how to use this. So you've got your positive and your negative, and again you've got your cardstock, and you've got your pattern papers. Look at that. Can you see that? There we go. Look, beautiful. You've sort of got your tropical themes, going through all your autumns. That you can see straight away, that's going to go with your Starry Night, isn't it? Then you've got your solid colours, and these are going to match perfectly with those ribbons in that corally orange, your yellows, your navy blues, and then your green and your turquoise. Now, it was a stamp and stencil, so here are your stamps. So look at this, straight away you've got your fairies that are going to go in your glade, you've got your Christmas ones here, let me turn it that way around, or you've got your stag, and then you've got your flamingos as well. So these are just losing a little bit of the black ink off there, that's just the carrier sheet, so don't worry about that. But the sorts of effects that you can create with these, you're going to be blown away. Look at this. Wow, this is why you need your negative and your positive, so that you can be creating the background and then you can stencil over the trees. Or how about doing your heat embossing? Can you see we've used the positive and the negative stencil, and then we've heat embossed the black flamingos onto there. Then you could also do the very similar with the pixie. Now they don't have to be, you know, you can see different size cards. Look at that. This is why you might want your watercolour cards, so that you can then get in and do all of these sort of splatty effects. That was a technical term, wasn't it? Splatty effects. And then, you know, but doesn't the black make the colours pop so much? That's got nothing to do with this collection. And if you want to change it, instead of Santa, you can have the stag. Try to find some more different ones. You've got your gorgeous pixie with the background, or there's so many. Oh, look at that. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Just changing it up. Same stag, same stencil, but different colour, different sizes, different colours. That one reminds me of a borealis.
That one, Northern Lights.
Northern Lights, yeah, that's the one. Can you see that blue coming out? I'm just waiting for the stars to shoot across the sky. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. So you've got so much you can do with these. Absolutely gorgeous. And again, that is £15 or $15, and you're going to get your 220 elements in this one. Platinum price, again, is £12 or $12. Right, now you won't get your bonus 100 points if you buy this, but if you bought them both, you certainly would, and that's going to help you in your Club Inspire. So take a look at this, and then it'll tell you a little bit more.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters' companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Quick Buy, all your crafty must-haves in a flash.
Make light work of intricate and delicate die-cutting designs with the Pokey Tool from Crafter's Companion. An absolute essential part of any paper crafter's kit, its precise tip has been designed to release the tiniest pieces to reveal your finished results with absolute precision. And to make sure your finished project is perfect, each Pokey Tool has a rubber tip protector, so there's no risk of damaging your die-cutting design or yourself. The Crafter's Companion Pokey Tool is such an essential craft item, we've included 2 in each set.
Quick Buy, get yours now.
We've had to make some changes to our shipping charges and we want to keep you informed. With continued pressure on domestic shipments around mainland US, we've had to temporarily increase the cost of our regular 6 to 10 working day standard shipping service from $9.99 to $12.95 and our free shipping threshold from $100 to $125. We also have some really great news to tell you. We've introduced a brand new shipping service called Express Delivery. This is a fully tracked door-to-door service which takes 3 to 7 working days and costs $19.95. This option means you'll get your crafty goodies in your hands sooner, meaning less waiting and more crafting. We're also upgrading delivery services for our Gold and Platinum Club Inspire members who will now receive priority delivery on all of their orders. And if that wasn't enough, we've upgraded these orders to our new Express 3 to 7 day service. Your patience and understanding throughout this very busy time has been amazing. So we'd just like to say a huge thank you and we look forward to chatting to you again very soon.
Right, well, we have got about half an hour left, so it's not very long. So I'm going to quickly show you our background stencil set. So you're going to get 5 background stencils, sorry, very wrong there, underselling this. And you're going to get all of these.
Giving you the 4.
Yeah,
Corinne's
you're
taking
getting
the
4,
other.
I'm keeping 1 for myself, yeah. So you're going to get your elegant trellis. Now, all of these stencils are 7x7. That doesn't mean you have to use them with a 7x7 card. You can use them on a smaller piece of card or use it on a 7x7 and trim it down and keep it for something else. So you can see absolutely gorgeous. Now, look at this. So you can see here, we've sort of used the positive and the negative here as well. So this is your elegant trellis. I love this one. This is your love hearts, and I like this because it's sort of not what's it, uniform.
Yeah, it's quite fun and quirky,
Yes,
isn't it?
it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's all, you know, all the bits. And then the next one we've got is Rosebud Floral. Isn't that pretty? Such a pretty way. So again, here what we've done is we've cut into it and then dropped the bit at the back. Now, if you are doing something like this and you're embossing and you're die cutting, remember to die cut first, otherwise you're going to, or if you're embossing, this is stenciling, isn't it? I was going to say if it's embossing and die cutting, you need to die cut
Well,
first.
of course, you can emboss with your
We
stencils.
can emboss with our
And we will be
stencils.
looking at that in a little bit, Corrine.
We
so
certainly
You're not
can.
wrong, don't worry.
So then we've got our beautiful butterflies. I do love this one. This is so pretty. This is crying out for a little bit of glossy accents and going in with that on
clear
there.
sparkle
Wow,
pen as well.
look at this one. Wow, polka dots. This is more than polka dots. This is bubbles and balloons and all sorts. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So much fun. And it just shows how you can bring in your stencils for maybe your younger cards as well. So we call them the pigment ink background stencils because initially I think it was thought that people would perhaps wanted to use your pigment ink for your blending, but you can use any of your inks that are good for blending on these. So maybe you're going to use your Midas
Midas
Metallic, that's the word I was looking for. So you're going to get all 5 of those for £17.97 or $23.85. If you're a Platinum member, they're going to drop down to less than £3 per stencil at £14.38 or $19.08. 8 cents even. So yeah, so Lily, what are you going to show us that we can do with these?
Well, you just said about embossing. Should we do a little bit of
I
embossing
think
with our
so.
stencils? Because we can, of course we can ink through them. I'm going to be doing that a little bit later, but we're going to start with a little bit of embossing. So again, I've taken some of that amazing multi-purpose card, great for using with your stencils and all your inks. And I've cut it down to about 6.5 inches by about 4.5, and we're going to actually emboss this.
So you don't have to go for the full size of your
Absolutely not,
of your
but of
stencil.
course, if you are doing really big cards, just build the design up, layer it up multiple times, but of course as well, do it for your smaller cards, it's going to work brilliantly too. Now, one of the things that we get a lot of questions about embossing stencils, and I have to say, is a little bit of trial and error. I'll give you the plate combination that I use. Other people might use a slightly different plate combination, but just have a little play and find what works best for you. It sort of depends how deep you want that embossed.
Because at the end of the day, that stencil is very thin, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And every machine is different. Even if you've got a Gemini at home, I know this Gemini is different to the one that I've got at home. I know it'll be different to the one Corrine's got at home. So just a little bit of playing about and finding what's going to work best for you. But what I'm going to use for this particular plate combination is my clear cutting plate. Then I'm going with my plastic shim, then metal shim. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our stencil, I'm going to pop our cardstock on top. And then we take our rubber embossing mat. Now this is crucial, no matter what other plates you're using, you need your rubber embossing mat. That's what's going to push the design into that cardstock. And then finally we're going to finish off on another clear cutting plate. And all being well, that should work. I have tested it out on this machine earlier, but you know what it's like on live telly, we'll see. But that is the plate combination that tends to work for me, but we shall see how we get on. If it doesn't work at the end of the day, it's just a piece of card. There's usually another way in which we can actually use it.
So basically what you've had to do is you've swapped out your metal shim, your magnetic shim for the rubber embossing mat and the metal shim, haven't you? So you've taken those
Yeah, so it's
together.
almost like we've swapped the magnetic for our rubber and we've added in our metal. Well, let's have a little look. So, perfect, yeah. Lovely, lovely. I did wonder if it would go, but so, I don't know if we can see very well. Oh yeah, Charlotte's got all the angles, that looks fab. It's embossed onto there. Now you're never going to get...
look at that.
You won't get as deep an emboss as with an embossing folder. If you want a really, really embossed design, then definitely embossing folders are one to go for. But you can still get a fabulously embossed design using your stencils as well. So all I'm going to do is I'm taking a piece of black cardstock. There seems to be a theme for the day with me and my black mats and layers. Of course, you could be using the reverse of this. The emboss and deboss works equally well. Adding our tape runner onto the back, and we're not going to stick it to our mat like I was about to. Butterfingers there. We're going to add that onto the centre of this piece of black cardstock like so. And then we're going to take our card base and we're going to add that onto our 7 by 5 inch card base, again just using our tape runner onto the back. You could lift this up with foam tape if you so wished to have a little bit of lift onto the back of there, but your tape runner will work equally well as well. Just make sure that you've got your fold at the left-hand side. Yes, there we go. We didn't want our hearts running upside down. It wouldn't look quite right. Some of the designs, of course, you can use them anyway, but with your hearts, you do sort of want them the right way around. And that's the background piece of our card all done. Now we're going to sort of use our embossing folder, not embossing folders. It is not actually an embossing folder. It actually is a stencil, even though we've just used it as an embossing folder. We're going to use it traditionally how it was perhaps designed to be used, and that's with our inks. Now, Corrine did say earlier that these are called pigment ink background stencils, but of course don't just think about using them with your pigment inks. I'm actually going to be using them with our water reactive dye inks, and they'll work amazingly with your Midas metallics that we've got on today's show as well. So what I'm going to do is I've taken a piece of white cardstock. It's about 2.5 inches by about 6.5. And I've got a little bit of my stick and spray. I'm just going to give it a shake, and I'm going to spray it onto the back of here, just into my bin. So you don't want a sticky carpet. So have something like a spray booth or spray into your bin. That tends to be what I do at home. Yeah. And just leave it for about 10 to 15 seconds just for that sticky to go off a little bit. And once you've waited, turn it over, and I'm just going to stick this onto my cardstock. And because this is sort of a quirky design, I'm not worried about getting it straight or anything like that, like I was with that dotty embossing folder earlier. Anyway around, if it's a little bit crooked, it's just going to add to that fun detail onto there. Now what I've got is I've got one of my water reactive dye ink pads from that bundle that we've got on the show, and this is the Bordeaux. And I have to say, I absolutely love this colour. It's like a really, really rich, deep, almost slightly maroony type red. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blending tool. I'm just going to work some of that ink into my square blending sponge. Of course, we do have these on today's show. I'm just going to start, and again, I'm going in those circular motions. That's going to give you the smoothest and most even coverage of ink onto there. And I'm literally just going to add the ink onto that cardstock. Now, you could tape your stencil down if you prefer, but I do find using a repositionable, and that's a hard word to say at 8:45 in the evening, repositionable spray adhesive like our stick and spray is the easiest way. I have to say, in the past I did tend to use low-tack tape, but honestly it's so much easier.
Well, you've been able to spin your card around, haven't you?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Which you wouldn't be able to if you'd have taped, because you'd have to have taped to your mat and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I used to do. I used to have to tape it to my mat, and then I'd be stood up, and I'd be round here, and then I'd have to move round it. Oh goodness me, what a palaver. So get yourself some of your stick and spray. Should be on the website, and that's just a nice repositionable adhesive. It won't leave a residue on your cardstock. If it does leave a bit of the sticky strings on your cardstock, just wait until your ink has dried, and then literally just rub the little stringy bits of glue off, and they just come off with no bother at all. So it is really the best sort of adhesive that you can be using for this. I have to say, sometimes in the past I used to try and get away without adhering the stencil down at all, and I'd be like clamping it down, and by the end my shoulders would be aching because I got like this vice-like grip on the stencil, trying desperately not for it to move. So definitely,
I think you get a better finish when you move, when you do it like this, because you've inked from every angle.
Absolutely.
So you know there's not a nook or cranny that you've missed. If you had it the right way up in front of you and you were inking that way, you might find that when you peel it, because of the weight of your hand, there might be a bit that's not covered all the way through. I think you've definitely picked up absolutely every bit.
Absolutely, and as well, by sticking it down nice, it means we're going to get the most crisp effect and the most sort of contrast when we pull this stencil away. Now this is one of those things, it's always a bit exciting, that big reveal, so just gently peel back. And it didn't look like that much, let's be honest, when the stencil was on, it didn't look like we got that much ink on, but how striking does that look? One colour of ink onto there, just sticking our stencil down onto there, one colour of ink, our Bordeaux, just going around and blending that through.
Gorgeous. I really like that.
How easy is that to create? I was thinking, wouldn't that look fabulous using lots of different colours? Perhaps you've got loads of your different Spectrum Noir range, and actually doing that in rainbow colours.
Using your finger daubers to go in.
Absolutely, yeah. So you could be picking out the different hearts in different colours, or you could be doing a rainbow ombre. Something else I quite like to do is, while that stencil's still in position, is actually take one of my Spectrum Noir art liners, which is our fine fine liner pens within the
Ah,
Spectrum
yes.
Raw range, and just drawing around on certain hearts just to pick out the detail. You could be doing a little bit of faux stitching as
Does
well
that
onto
make
there.
them pop? Does that make
Absolutely.
them look 3D?
Yeah, so it's quite nice just to do it on sort of the odd heart, just to pick out certain elements in that design, adding a little bit of faux stitching. But if you do that while the stencil is actually still in position, it gives you that. And again, it's going back to the bowling alley analogy,
I
isn't
think
it?
it gives you the
It
bumper
gives you that
bars, doesn't
border,
it?
so you don't have to worry about being able to draw. You've literally got the template onto there. So don't just think of our stencils as with inks. Yes, they're great with inks. They're also great to emboss with as well, so they're sort of like embossing folders too. But also think of them as templates, which you can actually just draw around and doodle. Perhaps you're into your Zen doodling, you're actually going to use this as a template and doodle into some of these hearts. They'll be absolutely fabulous for that as well. So like I say, just think about all the sorts of different uses you can get from just the one product. So just there I've listed 3 very different uses just to sort of get you started. So using them as traditionally with inks, using them as embossing folders, and using them as templates. And that's before you've even started to play with different colours of inks, working with different cardstocks. I mean, working onto black cardstock using your Midas metallic inks would look absolutely amazing. So stencils are, honestly, they're absolute workhorses. And I know I don't use them enough myself, and I don't know if you guys at home are the same, but honestly, there's so much you can do with them. Once you get playing, you can't
right
stop.
At the beginning, isn't it? Stencils and embossing folders are so underrated.
Absolutely.
But actually, the things you can do with them, you can probably do more with them than you can with dyes, actually.
Yeah, it's one of
But
those.
we forget.
We do, and it's one of those when you get playing, you sort of kick yourself, think, oh, for goodness sake, why don't I use these as much as I should? Because I tend to think of stencils and embossing folders just for backgrounds.
Yeah.
But I think we've shown on today's show that there's so much more than that. They can absolutely be your focal point to your cards. So we've got this card base that we laid up earlier using that embossing folder stencil, if you want to call it that. And then we've got the piece that we've just used with our inks. I'm going to create a really modern, clean and simple card.
It is, isn't it? I was
So I'm
thinking
just
that.
adding that onto there. So something really fresh, perhaps for a teenager sort of age might be perfect for something, a design like this, or even for a masculine mate, because you've got such sharp, crisp, clean lines. I think a man would really appreciate a card like this as well. And I've just gone with a sentiment. Now this is actually, talking of craft kits, this is from our latest craft kit, which is number 46, the iris folding craft kit. So if you've got that one at home, the sentiment is just from that kit, and I thought it just went perfectly with this card. And I have to say, all of the craft kits, the sentiment stamps, are some of the ones I use time and time again. I go to them all the time. So don't just think about your craft kits as using them perhaps to create the designs that are intended. Think of breaking them down into different elements. Think about using your sentiments on all your other projects. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add it slightly to the right. Now we've added one layer of foam to this inked area. So in order to get this raised up one more level than that particular area, we'll need one layer of foam pad on the left, on that bit which overlaps that piece. So we're going to need 2 levels of foam on the right, just because that needs to be built up, that extra layer. And I'm trying not to overthink my sentiment too much, because honestly, with the positioning of my sentiments today, I'm coming up with 10,000 different places I can place them. So we're not going to think too much. We're going to add that down onto the bottom right. But what a clean, crisp, modern, really contemporary sort of design we can do with our stencils, using them to emboss, using them to ink as well. So many different techniques, but so quick and easy to create something a little bit like that.
That is absolutely beautiful. I love that. Like you say, it is so modern. Right, now, we need to be quick. We need to do demo of the show so that we can then do demo of the day as well. So, can we start at the beginning for first demo of this show?
Absolutely.
Lily,
So again, it feels like ages ago, but it feels like years ago. But we're going for our illustrators. That is
yes,
number 1.
Yep.
Almost forgot I'd
Beautiful.
done that one.
That's 1.
Pop-up step front card, or whatever we're calling it. That is your number 2. Funny fold card is number 2. Number 3 is a great big whopping, not a mini card at all. That's your number 3. And then number 4 is your contemporary modern one that we've just done using our stencils. So 1, 2, 3 or 4, get your votes in.
Yeah, please get voting nice and quickly. And then Rachel, who is on the socials, will be able to do that. So she has actually said, I think Lily is winning demo of the day.
I do hope so. I'd be quite upset if I don't, quite frankly.
So just while those are coming in, we've had some lovely comments. So, thank you, Carol, saying, hello, Corrine, it's good to see you. It's a great show. It really is a great show today. Pam E says, I love this box. It's been my favourite. Oh, that's the silhouettes box.
Oh,
she
yes.
loves that one. I think that's Mr. Simmons 333. Sorry if it's Mrs. Can't be Mrs. Simmons, it's not enough S's. Love the price of these beautiful kits. So talking about those kits at £15, $15. Corrine, you do such a terrific job of showing us the potential of the kits. Thank you. Well, it's been my pleasure. I wasn't sure how this presenting was going to go, but I've absolutely loved these last 2 days. And Kathy says, I could watch Corrine and Lily all day. They complement each other, plus having a crafter presenter with a crafted demonstrator is terrific. Thanks, ladies, and hope you work together often. So do I.
So do I.
It's been a great day.
Yeah,
I've really loved it.
It's been a funny one because we've known each other for a number of years now.
We have.
Obviously, we've never worked together like this, but it's been fabulous. So I hope you guys at home have enjoyed it as much as we have. It's been fabulous.
It has. It really has. So while you're quickly voting, it's very close apparently.
Ooh.
So quickly, have I got time to do the card or shall I? Yeah, right. So the multi-purpose card. So you're going to get 180 sheets of this, 60 sheets in each pack. So it's 300 GSM. So thinking about your card bases, your boxes, you're using it with your blending pencils, using to stamp onto, and you've got to be embossing onto this and stenciling onto this. Lily has just shown you that it's absolutely perfect for all that. So you're going to get all 180 sheets today for £19.98 or $29.98. And if you're a platinum member, that's going to drop down to $15.98 or $23.98. Right, so the winner of demo of the show, I actually think that through, yes, is number 1.
Ooh,
oh, I'm really pleased because that was a new technique to me. I love that one.
I'm pleased about
So that means demo of the day. We have our card front first. That's 1. We have our card front again, but in our frames, in our craft along with our shadow boxes. That's 2. And Lily, you've got number 3 with our embossing folders.
Yeah, there's a certain theme of colouring, isn't there, on today's? But 1, 2 or 3, get your votes in.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely brilliant. So if you can vote for that again, so 1, 2 or 3, then we can find the demo of the day. And then we'll see where it gets tomorrow. So see if you can win demo of the week. Have you got many stars?
I've got the 1. Yeah, I've got 1
They
star.
haven't even put my name on the board, Lily.
Oh,
they haven't even put my name on the board.
You'll get there. Don't you worry. You'll get there.
Right, so your 3D frames, this is where we started. So we're right back at the beginning again now. So 3D frames, this is all 12 of your frames. So if I can find my little card with those on. So it's all on the screen. So you're going to get your 4 sizes of embossing folders, 5x7s, 4x6s, 5.5-inch squares, or your 3.25 by 8.25, i.e. your slimline. You're going to get 3 of each of those sizes. And you're going to get them today for a 25% saving down to £53.49 or $70.95. So that's going to give you $42.79 or $56.76 if you're a platinum member. Sorry, dipping behind there. Even I can't be seen behind there. So let's have a quick look. So you are going to get your exquisite blooms. Just remember all the techniques that Lily has shown you today will be able to be applied to all of these. Your entangled roses. I'm going to have to whiz through these quite quick. I do like this one. Luscious lilies. These are beautiful. You see, I definitely have that wreath effect definitely appeals to me. Yeah. This is the one that has won demo of the show, isn't it? Yes, that's right. The Elegant Flourish. There we are, beautiful.
I just love the size of that. I just love that slimline. I think it looks so elegant.
It does, doesn't it? It's a shape, a size that I'm not aware of, but I'm really warming to.
Yeah.
Swirling lace is absolutely beautiful there. And like I say, I think this one, you're going to be able to pick out your mail cards a lot with this, with the paisley in there. Then you've got your classic lace, which is a really nice size to handle. You know, it's not too big at all. Then we have our lovely lace, which you used for your black card right at the beginning of the day, which is beautiful on there. Another one of our slimline ones is our embellished lace. So again, good nice space in the middle. As somebody was saying earlier, I'm sorry, I forgot who it was, it's room for you to put your embellishments on. Then we've got our intricate filigree, absolutely beautiful, followed by our elegant swirls. When I look at these and I can feel, it's unfortunately, you know, you can't feel with TV, but how raised these are, it's quite incredible. Then you've got your fancy floral wreath, and like I say, I do like that because I think that wreaths come to drawing me in. And then you've got your elegant frame trio. So you can get all of those. That's going to be quite a bundle when that arrives. So that's all 12 of those embossing folders, and you can see them here. Look at that. That's quite a stash. So think of all your techniques that you're going to be able to use for those. Right now, have we got a winner? Whoa. Right, demo of the day goes to...
Drum roll, please.
Your frame. How perfect. I think it was appreciative of all the work that you put into that.
Yeah, honestly, it was a pleasure. It was just a joy. It was a fair few hours of colouring, but just a pleasure every single minute. I do love my colouring, so I'm glad that you appreciated it.
That butterfly blew me away. That really, really did. I
just think how it started off, Corrine, with the 2 stripes.
I was looking at that thinking, ooh, right. Okay, so if you've missed anything, then please click on by the show or the show details on our website, and you will see everything that we've had today, or you can watch back any of the shows that we have had here today. So thank you so much, Lily. Like you say, it's the first time we've actually worked together. Yeah. We've worked around each other before, but never together. So this has been absolutely wonderful. Hopefully it'll be again soon. I really would. I have loved this. This been presenting has been so much fun. So thank you so much, Lily.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you back soon. Have you got any more shows scheduled in?
I've got one sort of mid-late April, so I'll be back in a few 2-3 weeks. So
but
really
I've already seen you colouring, prepping for shows, getting ready. So
yeah,
you'll see her handiwork around, even if you don't see Lily around. So this has been absolutely brilliant. So there's still time for you to get this beautiful 3D frame embossing folder collection today at this amazing price, saving you 25%, and obviously even more if you're a platinum member. So I will be back tomorrow. It's going to be Colour Me Happy with Debbie Fisher. So I believe she's at the house ready for me, waiting. So we'll catch up and find out what she's going to do there. Then we've got a masterclass in the middle of the day with an Easter project, and then Second Chance Sunday. Are those animals with attitudes going to be left? Oh, I don't know. I think we'd called about 70% yesterday. So we shall see. See, yeah, they might not be. If you like those and you were sitting on the fence, there's still time to get them. Maybe not by Second Chance Sunday tomorrow. So please, please come back. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for all your comments. And I'm so sorry if I haven't read all your comments out. It's a learning curve for me, and I'm just trying to catch up with everything that I have to do. But it's been amazing interacting with you, seeing Pam on our craft along earlier. I've loved it. So thank you so much. And I will see you again in the morning. Have a lovely evening, and good night from me, and sleep well.